Lady K.
Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Lady K Chat, a podcast that has been designed for divorced women to become a better version of themselves. Various subjects will be speaked upon, such as relationship, personal development, health and wellness, wealth building, children, and so much more. The shows will be aired every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by the lovely host, who is an international speaker, two-time Amazon bestseller author, and a divorce life coach, Kalima, aka Lady K. And now for your host, Lady K. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today's episode of Business Law 102, Intellectual Properties. And today I actually have a pleasure to have this guest on today, and she's going to go a little bit more into details and educate you guys on what exactly is intellectual property and why it's important and why you should protect your company's name. So just to give you a little bit of background, this woman has graduated from Milton Hershey Schools, the University of Pennsylvania, and the Temple University Bessie School of Law. She is a licensed attorney in the state of Pennsylvania and New Jersey. She has attained her LIM in taxation, certification in group insurance, retirement benefits, and teaches nonprofits compliance, public policies, and leadership at Eastern University School of Leadership and Development. And she has previously taught at Temple University and maintained a licensed insurance mortgage broker license, and as well as a Series 6, 63, and 26 investment license. Woo, I am out of breath, and I have the pleasure of introducing Ms. Toni Moore. How are you today, Toni?
Hello. I'm good.
How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good. Thank you for coming on today, Toni. You have quite a background. Very impressive. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I would like for you to give my audience a little bit of education on what exactly is intellectual property. Can you please give them that, please?
The intellectual property is what most people think of as essentially the things that you create with your mind. With your, right. I call it the brilliance and stuff like that. So it's something that is non-tangible, and it's something like it's a creative work, it's a tagline, it's a slogan, it's a product design, and such things as like a patent, a copyright, a trademark, even like a trade secret. So it's intellectual and it's property, different than personal property, which is also different than real estate property.
Right. And let me ask you a question, right? When someone does start their business, right? Mm-hmm. And, they're trying to get the groundwork on, when would you recommend a person to start, protecting, their logo, their company name? When do you suggest, when they first get started, or when the company's making a significant amount of money?
That's really hard to say.
Okay.
Because of the fact that people do, I'm a creative by nature. I come up with taglines all the time. I start giving them away. So I'm not necessarily using the stuff that I started back in like 2001 when I started my different types of law services, law firms. So really, it gets to the point where if you don't, you just have to be mindful of, when it comes to, at least with regards to trademark, the name, the logo, the tagline, the catchphrase, whatever you want to call it, is if you do not protect it by securing your brand, then someone else can pretty much use it, and you can't turn back the hand of time. So once you pretty much let your light shine, so to speak, and people are like, oh my God, I like that phraseology, I'm going to use it. Well, if you didn't register it, you can't stop me from registering it. So that's always the problem. Right. Always the problem. So when people ask me the when, I'm always like, here's the thing. Always remember, the person who gets the respect is the person who registers first. If you don't register because you're waiting for your money to come in, or you're waiting for, partner, mom, dad, whoever to show up and support you, then you may end up losing out on an opportunity to protect your tagline, your trademark. Like I was looking at someone else's tagline today. I was like, oh, that's so nice, worth it. You know what I mean?
Right.
They were doing it for makeup. I'm like, and I talk about wealth because I help women build wealth through entrepreneurship. So you don't think I'm gonna use it? You know what I mean? But that's a conversation a little later on. So
absolutely. Now let me ask you a question. Is it costly to go ahead and protect your logo, your company name, or does it depend on what you're doing with it?
It really depends. I mean, everything costs. Some people do it on their own and then they mess up.
Right.
And then they end up either having to keep trying again, or they lose out and they don't get like a certificate at the end. Some people, depending on the attorneys that they contact, some attorneys cost more than others. So when people ask me, is it costly? Yeah, it costs money. It's not free.
Right.
However, if you do it the right way, when you monetize it and you protect it and then you leverage it and even franchise your brand, your product, your service, your work, so that other people would have to license your product through you, you're making money on top of money. So the question is, do you want to be the sole source, or do you not care who else is controls, alts, and deletes and copies you?
Right. Thank you. And I'm so happy you said that. Thank you so much. Is like you said, is how you utilize it. A lot of people don't think like that. So a lot of people, because I remember one day I had a conversation with someone and I said, oh, I have a logo and I would like to go ahead and, and protect it and, go through the process. And she said, well, why would you do that? She said, every year, you will have to pay fees. And I said to her, why wouldn't I? I said, I actually have a great idea. Why not monetize it like you just said? But her mentality was there's yearly fees. And why go ahead and do that? And it's like, well, why not protect what I have? What is mine? Because like you said before, somebody else can have the same idea and take it and run with it. And they could be the first person to file it. And then I lose out. Correct?
I just need you to understand that it's unfortunate how we have been raised and cultivated and indoctrinated to believe that if it's not physical, it's not powerful.
Wow.
The mind is the thing that is a terrible thing to waste. The mind is the thing where you let your light shine. The mind is the thing when if you're going to create success, it all starts in your mind. Right. So for us, I'm a brown person. I'm a woman. I'm from the urban area. We have always been cultivated to believe that we're not worthy unless we put some sweat equity. People have always not necessarily valued our mental, value our intellectual ability. They only valued our physical ability, our beauty, and our song ability. If you can't sing in certain places, especially churches, you're nothing. If you're not an athlete, you don't become anything. But here's the thing. We have to understand that our wealthiness is based on what we value, and that mind, that creativity for us to think and to create ideas that we can monetize. That's the key. That most people don't understand, that big brands, big companies, they spend millions of dollars on licensing. Guess what licensing come from? From their intellectual property that they then leverage, and then they get a chance to leverage it and sell it out to other people and put boundaries and put constraints upon it. And then they pass down that generational wealth to the next generation, to the next generation. If the only thing we see is physicality, if the only thing we see is physical, if the only thing, thankfully, but not always, we have gotten into real estate, but then if we're going to go for the socioeconomic equality, then we have to understand that we have to value our intellectual property. And I don't care how much it's going to cost you, but once you become that sole source, once you become that, like even I'm thinking about, I started in a music law over 20 years ago. My husband's a musician. I write music. So we met and we talked to musicians and singers, and that intellectual property is the copyright. Well, someone asked me probably like a few months ago, they had a family member who they thought they sold a song to James Cleveland, right? Mm-hmm. So they sold a song to James Cleveland, but guess what? They never copyrighted the song. So the only thing that's at copyright.gov is James Cleveland's song. So how can me, an attorney, go and say that James Cleveland's estate owes this other family all these millions of dollars if they have no proof that they own the song?
Wow.
And that's where intellectual property comes into play, is that I'm a God girl. God gave us the ability to create wealth. And it's not always from the sweat equity. It's from that the fundamentals of our mentals, the fund a mental, fundamental, fund a mental intellectual property. That's where I'm at this level. The older I get, on the other side of 45, I'm just like, I can't turn back the hands of time, but I can help people understand it's not just about sweat equity, especially in this creative economy. We're going to have to value those ideas that we throw away and we gift to other people's. And if you don't secure it, then you give everybody the license to use and monetize what God has put inside of you.
Wow. Toni, you said a mouthful. You gave me chills. Thank you for that. Listen, if somebody was serious about, getting their property in order and they wanted to reach you, how can they contact you?
Well, my firm is Legally Chic 360 because I wanted people to be clear and harmonized and informed and compliant. So we came up with this brand, legallychic360.com. I'm on social media as Toni Moore, Toni, Moore with 2 O's, ESQ, Instagram and on Facebook and also on Twitter. Because at this point, I'm just like, I'm in a huge mission. I am a wealth building attorney. I realize that we have that creative. I have realized that we do have an opportunity to, even if we weren't trust fund babies, at this point, we are going to have to trust our funds, trust our values, trust our worth. We're going to have to start building some of these intellectual properties, and then we're going to have to turn around and sell them to other people to leverage them. So that's why I'm always asking people, hey, if this is your brilliant baby that you were pushing out, because it's not about the JOB, the just over broke. And who wants to really be part of the 40-40-40 sentence? Do you know what the 40-40-40 sentence is?
No, what is that?
That's 40 hours for 40 years, where then after 40 years in retirement, you have to survive off of the 40% of the income that you used to complain about. We don't have time for that. We have to not be our parents' dreams, because their dream is only for us to replace them. We have to be over and above the dream, and we have to start thinking, how can I make money? How can I be a millionaire? Right. How can I sell something to 1,000 people for $1,000?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, how do I do that? And that's where we have to be creative with our work, creative with our expertise, creative with our abilities, creative with our lessons that we learned, creative with our talents and our helpfulness. That's what I call wealth, And one of the things with the workability is the copyrights, our books, our songs, our poems, our designs, our photos, that's the creative works that people don't understand and appreciate. Yes, it may cost you $55 or more to secure your copyright, but guess what? If you are a singer, if you're a musician and someone else wants it, then you can license it out and you make more money. That's making money when you sleep. Even a trademark. I just talked to he is a fashion designer. He's up and coming. But at least this younger group understands that they have to secure their brand. Now, he's trying to figure out how he can be distinctive. And there's just certain rules with regards to fashion and how we can keep the copycatters from control, alt, and then deleting and copying and pasting. And I was like, but if you put out the essence, if you dominate in your lane with by showing up and just being that brand and living the brand and breathing the brand and getting your fans to be part of that cult of the brand, then guess what? Even when someone copies you, the pace won't stay the same.
I love that. Wow. Thank you, Toni. I really appreciate you. Again, you said a mouthful. Everyone, I hope you took key notes. If you are looking to follow her, like she said, continue to follow her on Instagram and Facebook at ToniMoore.com, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Facebook at Toni. Oh, no, I couldn't get ToniMoore.com.
Oh,
so I had to get Toni Moore ESQ.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
I tried to get ToniMoore.com. Somebody already has. It's pretty popular.
You see? And like she said, ladies and look, someone jumped her to it, but it's okay because we already know she's savvy, she's smart. And if you want to book her, check her out. Thank you so much, Toni, for coming on. And ladies and gentlemen, continue to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Lady K Chat and on my website at www.ladykcoach. And everyone, you have a great night. And thank you for tuning in.